Life in the American colonies was a new beginning for many. People came from Europe seeking land, freedom, and opportunity. 13 colonies stretched along the Atlantic, each with its own government but all under the distant rule of King George III. Colonists were proud to be British, part of a vast empire. Yet the ocean's distance fostered self-reliance. British laws controlled trade, benefiting the empire through mercantilism, but limiting colonial freedom. Over time, colonists developed a unique American identity, valuing self-government and independence. Cities like Boston and Philadelphia thrived, and new ideas about rights and freedom spread. Soon, colonists would demand their voices be heard across the ocean. The desire for independence did not happen overnight. It grew from a series of disagreements over money and power. After the costly French and Indian War, Britain taxed the colonies to pay its debts. The Stamp Act of 1765 required colonists to buy special stamps for paper goods, sparking outrage. Colonists protested, arguing, "No taxation without representation." Groups like the Sons of Liberty organized boycotts, and Britain repealed the Stamp Act. But new taxes followed, leading to more protests and violence. In 1770, British soldiers killed 5 colonists in the Boston Massacre. The Boston Tea Party sent a bold message. Colonists would fight for their rights and freedom. The Boston Tea Party made the British government very angry. In response, Parliament passed a series of harsh laws in 1774, which the colonists called the Intolerable Acts. These laws were meant to punish Massachusetts and show the other colonies what would happen if they defied the king. One law closed the port of Boston until the colonists paid for the destroyed tea, which crippled the city's economy. Another law took away much of the power of Massachusetts's local government and gave more authority to the royal governor. These punishments did not scare the other colonies into silence. Instead, they united them. They saw the attack on Massachusetts as an attack on the rights of all Americans. In September 1774, leaders from 12 of the 13 colonies gathered in Philadelphia for a meeting called the First Continental Congress. They discussed how to respond to the Intolerable Acts. They agreed to a complete boycott of British goods and sent a petition to King George III asking him to restore their rights. But the king and Parliament ignored their requests. The colonists began to realize that peaceful protest might not be enough. Militias, or groups of citizen soldiers, began to train and gather weapons. The situation was becoming more tense every day. The first shots of a real war seemed almost certain to be fired soon, marking a point of no return. By the spring of 1775, fighting had already broken out in Massachusetts at the battles of Lexington and Concord. The Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia, now facing the reality of a war. While they still hoped for peace, they also began to prepare for a larger conflict, appointing George Washington as the commander of a new Continental Army. During this time, a writer named Thomas Paine published a powerful pamphlet called Common Sense. In simple, direct language, he argued that it was time for America to break away from Britain completely. He said it was absurd for a huge continent to be ruled by a small, distant island. His words inspired thousands of colonists to support the idea of independence. The calls for a complete break grew louder. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress took a monumental step. They officially adopted the Declaration of Independence, a document written mostly by Thomas Jefferson. The Declaration did more than just announce their separation from Britain. It laid out a powerful vision for a new kind of nation. It stated that all men are created equal and have certain unalienable rights, including the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It declared that governments get their power from the consent of the governed. With these powerful words, the 13 colonies declared themselves to be free and independent states, ready to fight for their new identity as the United States of America. Winning independence was far harder than declaring it. The American colonies faced the world's best army and navy. Washington's ragtag Continental Army endured defeat, hunger, and bitter cold at Valley Forge. But their spirit of freedom burned bright. Victories like Trenton and Saratoga turned the tide. France joined the fight, bringing vital support. At Yorktown, the British surrendered. In 1783, Britain recognized American independence. The dream of a new free nation was finally real. This is Glenn's Project. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification button for more videos like this. Thanks!